The way you dress today has probably been influenced by her. With a single magazine, she reshaped the entire fashion industry and even extended her influence into politics. Without her approval, you could end up on the Met Gala blacklist. Yet, despite all that power, she was betrayed by a designer she personally helped build. Even with enormous influence, she still had to answer to corporate executives. And through betrayal, protests, threats, and criticism, she always did the same thing. She put on her sunglasses and kept moving forward. Today we are talking about Anna Wintour. I'm Chunxia, a beauty creator fascinated by the world of fame, power, and influence. Today we're going to recreate this makeup. Let's grow together and build a life of elegance, ambition, and self-worth. When Anna Wintour interviewed for Vogue for the very first time, the editor-in-chief Grace Mirabella asked her which position at the magazine interested her most. Anna's answer, yours. Needless to say, she didn't get the job. Honestly, I could never imagine saying something that brought in an interview. But here's the funny part. 37 years later, she ended up replacing Maria Bell as editor-in-chief. And even more surprising, 20 years before she became editor, her father had already written down her future career goal, editor of Vogue. Maybe manifestation really does work. When Anna officially took over Vogue, she immediately began meeting employees one by one. She wanted to understand their responsibilities, their connections, their abilities, their work ethic. People were over within 3 days. The staff was reduced from 120 employees to 90. That sounds cold. Maybe it was, but it was also the first step in building power. The second step was controlling the cover. Before Anna, Vogue covers looked like this. Using her instincts and a strong sense of control, Anna made a bold decision. She put Madonna on the cover. At the time, it was considered unconventional. Anna later explained that she wanted Vogue to cover topics that were culturally relevant, controversial, and important. Gradually, celebrities began replacing traditional fashion models on magazine covers. Eventually, models disappeared from many covers entirely. She was reshaping the industry, but influencing fashion wasn't enough, so her influence expanded into politics. After Hillary Clinton lost the presidential election, Anna called a meeting with everyone at Vogue, and I mean everyone. Even assistants were invited. Normally, assistants didn't attend those meetings, so you can imagine how serious the situation was. Employees arrived early and waited for her. Anna stood before them and said the media was accusing Vogue of going too far in its support of Hillary Clinton. After all, Hillary had become the first female Democratic presidential nominee in American history. Journalists questioned the magazine's credibility. Articles criticized Anna personally. Then she addressed the room. That Trump is president now. We have to move forward. What surprised people was that her voice reportedly cracked. Anna was known for emotional control. She disliked bringing emotions into work. Her father had gone to work even after the death of his son. That was the standard. For a moment, her sunglasses couldn't completely hide her sadness. But she still wore them like armor and kept moving forward.
Sunglasses, Paul. No, I'm going to wear them.
The guest list for the Met Gala is one of the most exclusive lists in the world, and every name ultimately goes through Anna Wintour. But many people don't know is that Kim Kardashian was once rejected. Can you imagine that? The woman who would eventually become one of the most famous celebrities on the planet was considered unworthy of an invitation. At the time, Anna reportedly believed that the Kardashian family lacked fashion credibility and had a little connection to Vogue. She also questioned their influence. For the Kardashians, those comments were devastating. Then everything changed. As Kim Kardashian and Kanye West prepared for their Vogue photographed them. Soon after, Kim was welcomed into the fashion establishment. Anna even invited her to the Met Gala. Fashion insider Winston Wolkoff later suggested that Anna had sold part of her soul to the culture she once rejected. Why she changed her position, as he put it. At the end of the day, Vogue is a transaction. This is the A side of power. Anna decides who appears, who gets invited, who gets access, who gets visibility, and who gets left out. She extended that influence beyond fashion and into politics, creating a network where culture, status, and power reinforced each other. But power also has a B side. The B side includes betrayal, threats, pressure, and disappointment. One person who benefited enormously from Anna's support was Malaysian designer Zhen Hui. He became one of the first Asian designers to receive her consistent backing. His name appeared regularly in Vogue. His reputation grew.
Wintour saw your sketches when you were just a young and hungry designer.
Yes, I was.
Wealthy clients' private jets began purchasing his designs. Anna sponsored him in young designer competitions and encouraged him to develop his career. Even when she couldn't attend his shoots herself, she sent staff members to support him. She helped build his success. Then came the betrayal. Before one runway show, one of the Anna's assistants delivered a message. Anna and her team loved the collection. However, there were two looks they felt didn't fit Vogue's aesthetic. The recommendation was simple. Don't include those two outfits in the show. Zhang ignored the advice. He believed Anna would continue supporting him. After all, there were roughly 45 looks in the collection. How much damage could two outfits really do? Apparently, quite a lot. After that show, Anna never attended another one of his runway presentations. The relationship never recovered. The last time they met, Zhang was surrounded by reporters and reportedly stared at him slightly for nearly 2 minutes before turning away and leaving with her security team. No explanation, no argument, just silence. Personally, I think she was remembering the betrayal, and she chose to walk away from someone she no longer trusted. I don't know if you've ever experienced a betrayal in your own life, and interestingly, I use the same strategy Anna did. I call it pay the bill and leave. Take responsibility for your own mistakes, pay the price for the lesson, and then leave people who no longer belong in your life. This strong-minded approach helped Anna maintain influence for decades. But despite all her power, she was still an employee at the end of the day. She worked for someone else. A new publisher named Ruin Golerty wanted Vogue to feature more advertiser-friendly content, and often refused to give advertisers special treatment. Conflict was inevitable. Eventually, Golerty and C. Newhouse invited her to lunch. During the meeting, Newhouse delivered a blunt message. If Anna continued resisting, she could lose her job. In fact, they had already begun discussing possible replacements. Then he said something that would stay with her, follow the money, and I didn't argue. She didn't storm out. She didn't make a scene. But afterwards, she adjusted. She became more careful about the balancing editorial independence with business. She spent more time meeting with advertisers such as Sullivan and Vasas. Honestly, if I were her boss, I'd probably love an employee like that. Give her feedback once, and she adapts immediately. Once she commits to a goal, she refused to stop until it's achieved. At the same time, Anna became a target for animal rights activists. The controversy surrounding fur had already been growing, and openly wore fur independently. In one editor's letter, she wrote that she didn't see meaningful difference between eating animals and wearing fur. That statement sparked outrage. Then one day, things executed dramatically. Anna was having a Christmas lunch with senior colleagues at a restaurant. A woman dressed entirely black approached the table. "Excuse me, are you Anna Wintour?" "Yes." The woman suddenly pulled a dead Rocco out of her bag. Then she slammed it onto the table. For a hag! For a hag! I imagine that happening during lunch. Most people would panic. Anna didn't. She calmly threw a napkin over the animal. Someone removed it. Then she turned to Stephen Flores, the CEO of Condé Nast, and said, "Merry Christmas." Moments later, she looked around the table and joked, "Well, that accidentally broke the ice." I honestly don't know how many people who could react to that calmly. That takes an extraordinary amount of compose. Of course, Anna wasn't successful at everything. After becoming editorial director, many projects outside of Vogue failed. And I think that's an important reminder. If you want to reach the top, failure is unavoidable, even for someone like Anna Wintour. After reading her biography, there are two things I admired most about her: her work ethic and her resilience. I've always believed that resilience reveals the true strength of a person. When faced with betrayal, threats, criticism, and failure, she put on her sunglasses and kept moving forward. I have to admit, Anna Wintour has become one of my professional role models. To all the future CEOs reaching this, I hope we all rise to the top of our own fields one day. I'm Chunxia. Let's continue growing together and build a life of elegance, ambition, and self-worth.